Hello everybody, Sigark here, back with another educational video for the Infected. And in this video, I'm going to explain every possible way to get iron ingots in the Infected. I'm also going to explain the best way to craft iron ingots early game, mid, and late game. Iron ingots can be crafted in two different ways. The first way is by melting 5 iron fragments in a stone or brick forge. There are a few different ways to get iron fragments in the game. The first way would be to go over to a stone forge like this, and just drag a small stone on there. And if you wait a minute or two, that small stone will melt down, giving you 1 iron fragment. The second way is to place a mineral extractor on any grassy area. So I have a few of them here. And as you see, it's picking up iron fragments, and it'll pick them up in 5s, it looks like, every few minutes. The quickest way would be to use a stone grinder. So every 25 seconds, the stone grinder is going to produce 2 iron fragments. Iron fragments can also be found by looting houses in any towns nearby. You can also loot the corpses of vampies when they die. However, this only has a very small chance of actually dropping iron fragments. I wouldn't really rely on killing vampies to get iron fragments, but they can drop them from time to time. The second way to get iron ingots in the Infected would be to melt iron ore in a stone or brick forge. So similar to iron fragments, iron ore can be obtained by looting towns, looting vampies. However, this is still rare that you're going to pick up an iron ore from a vampy, but it does happen from time to time. So the most reliable way is going to be the mineral extractors as well. So you see I have one here, another one there, a few more. I think I emptied these out recently. The fourth and final way is to mine rocks in caves with a pickaxe. When you're mining in a cave, you're mainly trying to get the lead ore. Iron ore is only going to drop about 25% of the time, so maybe 1 in 4 rocks is going to drop an iron ore, so I wouldn't really rely on that method to get iron ore either. So now I'm going to talk about the best way to craft iron ingots in each stage of the game. The best way early game would be to build multiple stone forges and start melting stones for iron fragments. Once you get 5 iron fragments, melt those to get your early iron ingots. So here I have a few stone forges lit, so if I throw a stone in each, there and there, so those are melting down, so let me speed up time real quick. Alrighty, so it looks like they're all done. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I can just throw that 5 that I got on there, and then in a minute or two, that'll give me an iron ingot. So that's how you're going to start off the game, just by getting stones, throwing them on the forges, then eventually you'll get your first iron ingots. The best mid-game strategy to get iron ingots is to use the mineral extractors on the grassy area like I showed you before. They don't require any kind of tech blueprint to build, and you can also fuel them with biofuel in the mid-game. This method will give you stones, iron fragments, and iron ores simultaneously, all 3 of which can be melted down at the forge. The best late game solution for iron ingots is going to be the stone grinder. So like I explained before, every 25 seconds it's going to grind down 1 stone for iron fragments. You can go out there and, mine the stones manually with a pickaxe, but what I would suggest doing is going over to your mineral extractor and then changing it so it only mines stone. So if I go over here, extract only stone, then every minute it's going to give you some stones. So if you do that on 1 or 2 extractors, you're going to have more than enough stone. And then just keep this basket full. You can even build a second one here. That way you can just fill it up and just keep it going. If you leave this for 10-15 minutes, you'll have a ton of iron fragments. Then you just want to bring them over to your brick forge, because if it's late game, you should have the brick forge built already. Throw them on there, and then it's going to melt down those iron fragments into iron ingots. And it seems like the brick forge goes a little bit quicker than the stone forge does, and you can do up to 10 on there. By this point in the game, you'll probably have a ton of iron ore as well, What I would recommend doing is just keeping the iron ore to the side. Don't melt those down for iron ingots. You'll want to save your iron ore to craft steel ore. So if you combine iron ore with your lead ore, that'll give you steel ore, which you'll need for different building and weapons and stuff. Also, what I'd recommend doing early game, build a few stone forges. I usually build about 8 or so minimum. I've taken a few down because I mainly use the brick forges now, but I would say build at least 8 of them. And then you'll have 2 slots to melt everything down on. That should be more than enough. Then late game, you want to build at least 2 or 3 brick forges, and those have 10 slots to melt things down on. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's everything that you need to know about iron ingots in the Infected. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, and check out my other guides, and I will see you next time.